I know everybody loves social media. Everybody loves it. They love social media management, and that's why they're just itching to get in today's session, which I think is funny because I actually like social media management, not the actual posting of, but the creation of it. So we're going to talk about we're going to talk about research around social media and why it's powerful and why it's important. We're going to look at 10 steps around social media strategy. And then the final document that we have is really walking through each of those steps, which we will not complete all of this today. It's really designed for us to kickstart the work today and try to work on it throughout the month. So did you all get the documents? Yeah? Okay. All righty. I'm not going to wait too terribly long. Let me do a quick check, make sure everybody's able to get in.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Let's just start off with just a real conversation. How do you feel about social media strategy? As a small business owner, how do you feel about it? Alana.
Strategy is a big word. We're in the stages of I have social media. Woo! Accounts, social media accounts. I have those accounts. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so you're jesting. Yeah, and what are the things that maybe just stress you out or concern you about social media?
I'm not quite sure like what to do with it, if that makes any sense. Like outside of okay, I can post, I can share like a article or something like that. So it feels very almost logistical,
Mhm.
not there is not necessarily thought behind it, or I haven't figured out what that thought behind, like what is the theme I'm going with,
Yeah.
those things that
Okay.
it just feels very simple.
Yeah.
Maybe it is supposed to be simple. I don't know. That's
Okay. You're in the right place because when I hear you talking about that, when you don't really have a strategy, you're just posting here and there, dabbling in it, like dipping your toe in the water, but you haven't felt the full effects of it. And so you're, it's like being in a boat with other people and they're all paddling in the different direction. You're not really going in a direction. You're just kind of, yeah, out there. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Michelle, how about you?
I had a really great strategy when I had done for you services through Angie. Then once that was over, so I think for me it's time, and I get so analysis paralysis or perfection paralysis, I'll say, where I will think, oh, I want to post about XYZ, and I'll actually draft something, and then I'll be like, that needs to marinate a little more. And then it marinates, and then I'm like, now it's the time has passed. Like now it feels no longer relevant. So I
Yeah.
think for me, mine is two things. One, getting over the fact that everything has to be picture perfect and still be considered a thought leader. I don't have to be like Einstein here, but and then time, like just getting. Oh, I said the word just getting a better sense. I caught myself too, Rachel. Getting a better sense of time and being timely.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Yeah. Gotcha. That's, and appreciate you sharing that because, especially the first part, because that happens to a lot of people. We get self-conscious and we're worried that what we're putting out there isn't going to be good enough or it's not going to appeal to people. And so we second guess it. We put it on the back burner, hoping that somehow magically it'll grow gold and silver streams of viralness, for lack of better words. And then we wake up the next day and, oh, that's yesterday's news. So that's not going to, I'm just, so then you actually wasted time. You actually took time and you threw it away. So that's a great realization on that piece there. Okay. Rachel, what about you?
I'm at the point where I recognize that social media is important, but I'm from the era of you didn't post your whole life on social media. I was in college before I had my first email account. And when I was a missionary, the way that we got bookings was phone calls. The idea of paying for Facebook ads, while I recognize that they do have a return on investment, I just have not thrown my heart over the bar that it's worth the investment at my current level of where I'm at in life.
Yeah.
And it's a time suck in some ways. And see, that's where I've got this dual dichotomy in my brain. Okay, I recognize it's an investment, but I don't know that it's worth the investment. But I haven't tried it, so I can't prove to myself that it wasn't worth the investment. And what if it's not worth the investment? So I have no idea why I'm talking with my hands. And honestly, I do not have TikTok. I don't have Instagram, Gram, whatever, Snapchat. There are so many that keep coming out. I feel like I'm a dinosaur and I'm only old. And I don't really want, I would rather pay somebody to do it that knew what they were doing.
Yeah. So I'm just writing down a few things here. So one of the things that you mentioned, and as you were talking, it's a constant mental mindset battle that especially small business owners have. This isn't how I used to do it. This is the other way. And I want to say that business development and social media management, they actually go hand in hand. So calling people, that's like a business development activity. With social media, it's about visibility. It's really about visibility and creating a consistent presence so that people know that you're there. And so they really go hand in hand. And I wanted to say something about Facebook ads. We're not necessarily going to focus a lot on that today, but one thing that I do want you to be aware of where Facebook ads are concerned, Facebook ads, they not only get you cold leads, but they're also a great way to determine what content you're putting out there is actually working. It's so interesting to see how when you test an ad, Facebook ad testing basically starts out like this. You have 3 different ad sets. They all have different copy. You put them out there and people are going to gravitate towards one more so than the others. And so then you test a picture. You take that copy that is the most desirable by your audience, and then you take 3 different pictures and you add it to that content. And then you start to see what visually appeals to people. So it's a really cool process. And that's why I love Facebook ads, because I can think that I have the best social media post on the planet that's drawing people. Every single time I'm surprised. I'm like, I would have never thought that everybody would gravitate towards that. So it's very helpful for us to just see how we're impacting people in that way. But even just getting social media, you've got to get to that step first. So I want to hit on 7 research facts about social media and small business growth. And you do have this document. I've got mine pulled up. There are actually a lot of research facts that I could have pulled on, but I felt like these were probably the most relevant for us. So and I'm going to just briefly walk through these, and I want you to think about, let's have a discussion about this. What stands out to you about this research? What's surprising? What is something that you've actually seen happen that relates to this research? So the first thing is that authenticity drives engagement and buyer trust. And this is something I've been preaching for a while in our community. But what the research says is that it's the authentic person, the authentic copy that doesn't sound overly polished and robotic and salesy. That's what draws people's attention. And so that tends to be the most authentic and influential type of post that will draw trust and ultimately lead people to click the button to whatever your lead magnet is or whatever your offer is. So second one is that video and live selling create direct sales. This is another area that I've seen the trend. It has dramatically increased where the videos, the reels, those are the things that are catching people's attention. And especially for those who have products. If you have a product that you're trying to sell, even a book that you're trying to sell and you've got a promo video for it, or maybe you have a testimonial for that. That's what's getting people's attention before any written content. I love this. They pulled this out. I don't use TikTok. My 17-year-old is an expert at TikTok. If we need someone to teach us, I'll get her in here to do it. But I thought this was so interesting, this fact that beauty brand P. Louise sold over 96,000 items and made $2 million and plus in one 12-hour TikTok live. Can you imagine that?
What was their viewer, like, how many, I don't even know what the phrasing.
How many people saw it?
Yeah, but how big was their group?
That I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But I just thought, can you imagine just in 12 hours making $2 million? You sell, and if I look at numbers, I think about sales from a numbers perspective. Usually for every 100 people, the average is 1 to 3 people that are going to respond out of every 100. I'm looking at that. They sold over 96,000 items. And so we could multiply that, right? That right there is the 1 to 3%. So anyway, interesting. Okay, third research fact, strategic social media use boosts economic impact. So what does this mean? It says in 2022, small businesses using TikTok in the UK alone contributed 1.6 billion to the national economy, providing social media's power to create real business results. So I thought this was interesting. This is only a figure for TikTok. They were really focused on TikTok, but Facebook does the same thing. Instagram, all of the social media platforms, they have an economic impact. They are generating from advertising sales and ads and things like that. So very interesting thought there. Fourth one, social commerce is rapidly growing. 76% of consumers say that they're open to buying directly through platforms like TikTok Shop, Instagram shopping. How many of you have bought something that you saw on social media recently? I did. I bought some mascara. I saw this gal who was in her car and she says, look, this is the real me. I don't have any makeup on. I'm going to put this mascara on. And she got these giant eyelashes. And I'm like, I want that. Because I have blonde eyelashes. And when I don't have mascara on, you don't see them. And I got the mascara and I was like, wow, it's really pretty impressive. My eyelashes are back on the map now. So what's the product that you bought off of social media recently? Alana?
Planner.
A planner? Cool.
Ta-da!
Yay! All right, Michelle, how about you?
I bought a moisturizer.
A few years ago, I researched something called Remarkable, and then it was in my Facebook feed. And so it helped me to actually decide to ask for it for my birthday because it was a larger purchase price. And I was like, do I really want to spend the money on this? But having that in my feed got me to their website, which got me more information.
Yeah. Yeah, so even in our own lives, we can see that it has an impact, especially where product sales are concerned. What I would say here is that when we're a service-based, or we're like Michelle, you're a keynote speaker, or you're selling a service, that takes a little bit longer because usually that is a higher ticket item, and it really takes the know and trust process to get people to click on to what you have. Okay, fifth, positive reviews equals higher revenue. So this is a Harvard study that a 1-star increase in a business's Yelp rating led to a 5 to 7% revenue boost. So this is evidence that you need to be getting testimonials out there, and social media is a great way to do that. I do that often for the VIP Center. We have a 5-star Google review for the VIP Center for Business Women, and the testimonials are stellar. And so sometimes I'll do a campaign that's specifically focused on those, and I'll post those to the right target audience. You guys know that we do events here. One of the things that we do, and one of the reasons why the events are so successful, is because of those testimonials and the experiences that people say, and they're real and people believe them, and they start clicking and they start calling us. As a matter of fact, that's part of the reason why I'm going crazy now, is because so many people are calling, and I really need another human here full time to manage that. Okay, referral and word of mouth marketing work best on social. So again, this goes along the lines of the testimonials. This is about recommendations. 92% of people trust recommendations from friends and family more than ads. Social platforms amplify referral power through tagging, sharing, and UGC. So whatever UGC means. So it just means encouraging shares. Please share. If you see those posts, that's the very first thing that they put. Please share. That's the thing that sticks in the mind. One thing that I have found is if you put please share at the end, you don't get as many shares, because they're more likely to remember what you put in first. So anyway, the next thing, social media ads deliver high return on investment. Campaigns with strong social storytelling can result in major returns. We use Facebook ads for our conferences, and since I've been doing that for our events, our attendance has greatly increased. Okay, so I want to just give you a chance to react to these. I'm just going to share my screen here so that you can see my document in case you don't have yours, but I'd like for you to just take a look at these, and I would love for you to comment on any of these that resonate with you. Maybe you're surprised about something, one of the items that's on here. Let me see if I can shrink this up a little bit. Yeah, so we got the first 5 there. Any of these that you're surprised about? Alana,
Now, just from the people I follow personally, and that I have seen all of these things work for them, whether that's being authentic or the reviews that they're getting, I'm definitely seeing it work. I think for me, where the challenge is, how do you I clearly see it for people who sell something, actual product. I think for me, the challenge is, where does that come in for people who provide the service? It's something as Michelle has, right? Like, it's not a thing. I can't just go buy it. Like, how do you transfer that into a completely different line? So that's where my challenge is.
Yeah, and when you're a service-based person, the principles here still apply. They still are more drawn to authentic people. If you're selling coaching services or you're an HR consultant, they would much rather listen to someone who's authentic. So one thing that's very important about all this, and we'll see this in our 10-step process here, that understanding who your target audience is and talking directly to them is going to make a huge difference. If you're just casting a wide net and you're trying to say, hey, whoever you are and whatever you do, I'm a consultant, and you're going to get a lot of scroll past your social media. But here's the thing. Even in that, putting your social media out and knowing that you may not have your target audience completely nailed down, people know other people. So when we see this referral and word of mouth marketing, when we see that, we see referrals, it can even show up if somebody sees your ad and they're at work, and let's say that you're an HR consultant and they're having trouble at work, and they know that they're looking for someone to come in and coach the leadership team. Hey, I just saw this person online and I know she's from our area and she seemed really, these things actually happen. They actually happen and they're very powerful.
I think,
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Rachel.
I think for me, the video and live sell, the example that you used shocked me a little bit. I know for me, like the whole idea of doing reels and being recorded sometimes is very hard for me. And I've gotten to the point where, you know what, I'm just going to let somebody record it and I'm not going to watch it, which I don't know if that's a healthy view of things, but it's at least gotten me over the block of being recorded. I won't say, no, I would prefer you not.
Yeah.
But it's hard to watch myself.
Yeah, and it's a mindset challenge. It's a confidence challenge, and all of us struggle with it. I'll tell you what, sometimes I'm like, I don't even want to see how that went. I'm just going to move on because I know that was not good. Right? We all have those moments. But here's the truth of the matter. What we're seeing and perceiving is not the same as what other people are seeing and perceiving. When people are looking at your social media, they're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about what they need. And we get really self-conscious. And yes, there are bullies and there are jerk faces out there, and you just delete them and delete their junk that they put on there. Those are always going to be out there, but somebody is looking for what you have. And especially your product with Life. You've got a great product there that people want to know about. People are looking to save and to get money back on everything that they spend. And so that's what they're wanting to know about. They're not going to say, oh, look at that top that Rachel's wearing today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Michelle, any of these that particularly stand out to you?
Yeah, I heard it like 3 different times, so I knew that was like I was meant to hear that, and was like, let me beat you over the head one more time with this. And that's that asking for testimonials. And I have always been so afraid to do that and ask people. And you know what? At VIP week, I did it. I asked some folks, I was like, hey, I just put it out there. First, I was very generic, like, if anybody would want to do it. But then people who would walk up to me and say, oh, what you spoke about today was really powerful. And then I would say, would you be willing to do a testimonial? And I don't remember, 4 or 5 people, Angie.
Yeah, I just edited one of the videos, Brandy's video today.
Yeah. But then I didn't know what to, they were like, what do you want me to say? And I was like, oh, now I don't know what to say. So basically that's why they're a little random, because I was like, whatever you want. And so people did different things, but I found it a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And I guess it would have been harder if somebody said, no. And maybe, what their reason was, I don't like to be on. Somebody did tell me, they said, I don't really like to be recorded. I don't want to be like, I don't like my face. I get that. But for the most part, people were like, yeah, absolutely. That was a really cool boost to my confidence to be able to go, because now I've gone back to Brittany from the Grow Conference. I reached back to her. It's been on my list and I kept moving it down and moving it down and moving it down. And after asking for some testimonials, then I got that brave spirit and I sent her a message and I said, this is what I'm doing. Would you share a testimonial as to why you reached out to me and asked me to be a speaker at your conference?
Yes. Yeah, and it takes that kind of courage. That was the whole theme of our conference, Courageous Women, Limitless Possibilities. I mean, that it's these sorts of things that are like the catalyst for you to have growth and have exposure. And
Michelle, can I ask a follow-up question to that?
Sure.
Did you just record them on your phone? Like, how did you get video testimonies?
I did. So I don't know the quality of them. Angie would answer that question, but I thought going back to this whole idea that first bullet point, make it authentic, make it real. It's real. And I don't know if you can get it, but you can even hear like cars in the background and people are sitting outside on the stoop. So yeah, I just did it with my phone and
I'll share the one I just edited for Michelle. So hold on just one second. Just to give you an idea. Let me.
it was weird while she's doing that, Rachel. It was weird because I was a little like, this feels a little weird. I'm listening to them talk about me. So instead of having somebody else, it was weird that talking about. And then sometimes it felt very emotional. I was like, oh, okay, this person thinks this about me because it's interesting.
Yeah, when I thought of testimonials, I thought of written testimonials. I never even thought about doing video testimonials.
Yeah, and they don't have to be, they really don't have to have super fancy editing. You can just record it right on your phone. The way that people are receiving social media today, they actually like for it to be very natural. For Michelle, since you are a keynote speaker and you've got event planners who are looking, they are looking for some unique branding for you. So that's why we did a little spruce up
I
here.
am blessed enough to call Michelle a friend. I met Michelle at the VIP Center for Business Women a couple of years ago. And in this last year, really got to spend some quality time getting to know who she is. And today, when she presented on I Am, it reminded me just who she is. Michelle is one of the most authentic, vulnerable individuals that I've ever met. She inspires me every time we're together with her wisdom, with her passion for whatever the topic is. She brings an energy to a room that you can't describe. And the joy that I experience in her presence is just, it's indescribable. So if you are considering Michelle for any kind of speaking engagement, whether it's a keynote, whether it's a panel, whatever it might be, say yes to that, say yes to her.
And I see I gotta correct your spelling on your name.
Yeah. And did it come out that garbly or is it just because we're watching it?
It's just, I forgot to hit yeah, it's not garbly. It's actually pretty clear. So.
Cool. With the truck in the background here, the motorcycle.
I
That's
forgot to
authentic.
hit the audio.
That's authentic for sure. No, but yeah, so that's how we did it. And like I said, I have been so hesitant since it's coming up on 2 years since I've had a website. So late June of 2023 is when we launched. And I've been so hesitant to do that. And it was so easy. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do a little experiment here. And this is on our social media strategies worksheet. I'll share that with you. We're going to take a few minutes to do this. So this opening exercise, social media study. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick any platform to go onto. This can be LinkedIn. This can be Facebook. It can be Instagram. And I want you to just go and do the scroll. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to do this. And I want you to scroll and I want you to just take note. What stands out to you? Looking at the different posts, what's really drawing you in? What's a turnoff to you? So what would you say about the content? So you're really just taking it in and you're seeing what appeals to you and what doesn't, what stands out to you and what doesn't. All right. So I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes to give you a chance to do that scroll. And then we'll come back and talk about what came up for you. Okay. Okay, ladies, it's time to come back. All right. So we'll just go around here and share what platform you were on and what you experienced as you did the scroll. So who would like to go first? Rachel, okay.
So I was on Facebook because that's basically what I have. And I realized just how many feeds or postings are not people that I'm friends with. Like when Facebook started out, when I was first on it ages ago, it was just people that you friended or that tagged you, or and now it's ads, it's reels, it's, people that are what, influencers. And it just, I don't know, it was a little disturbing just how much advertising is in Facebook nowadays.
Yeah.
But I did wish my godson happy birthday.
So you're bringing up something that's very interesting that has become more prominent in social media, and that is the algorithm that is created. So if your Facebook page is full of stuff like that, you're really getting the algorithm of the people that you've added as friends and the things that they like. And then anything that you research, that you look into, all of a sudden you're going to start getting an influx of information and posts that are related to that. So this is one reason why it's really important to have a business page, whether it's a business page for Facebook or for LinkedIn, where that you have that separate page and you're very careful about who you add to that page. You want to invite people in to that page. You don't want to go and invite all of your friends, because you're going to get the same thing on your feed that you did on your personal feed. So that's why my process is that you have a business page and you have a lead magnet that draws the kind of people that you want, that you're targeting, and you give them a free goodie, and then they start following you on your page and in whatever social media platform. So there really is a strategy around that, and it's important to follow. Otherwise, all of your social media, you're going to have a big mess to untangle. It will eventually sort out, but you're going to have to sort out those people who do not fit your avatar, so to speak. Okay, Michelle, what did you observe?
I noticed as a consumer of this, I'm on LinkedIn, by the way. I've noticed that when there are pictures involved, I will stop and read. When somebody just put a whole lot of content, I was like, I don't have time to read that right now. And so I scrolled on past it because it was just a whole lot of words that had little dots that I had to keep scrolling to read all of it. So I noticed that pictures tended to stop me a little more, or some kind of graphic of something.
Yeah.
And notice a whole lot of people are celebrating a lot of stuff right now: graduations, speaking engagements, all kinds, babies. I've noticed that too with LinkedIn has become a lot more personal than it used to be. I felt like LinkedIn was always like, you're not going to show a picture and be like, hey, sorry, I haven't been around for 3 months. Look at this baby I had. It was used to be that was Facebook or Instagram. And I'm noticing how much more personal LinkedIn is becoming. As I was scrolling one article, which I didn't read the article because it was too long, but the woman started out with when my dad died a few years ago. And so it was very personal. And just, I read enough to know she was talking about creating some kind of resource so people know how to find stuff when you're not here anymore. But anyway, so those are a few things I noticed. Pictures get my attention, or graphics, and it's becoming more personal than ever.
Yes. Two really important points there, that we're visually inclined. Not exactly 100%, but most people, they're drawn in visually. It's just our nature to be drawn into the visuals, because we have a fight or flight response in it. We have this need to protect ourselves. And so it's almost like a hypervigilance that we practice when we're looking to see what's going on. And so that we can use that information to know that the graphics are important to draw attention. But what's really powerful, I love that you bring up that it's become more personable and personal. I've noticed that as well. And the truth is this: it doesn't matter how logical you try to be, people are still very emotional, and decisions are about 70 to 80% emotionally based. And so the fact that you were drawn to when my dad died, that's just proof of that when people are looking at things, they're making emotional decisions about what they see. So you have the opportunity on social media to appeal to their emotion. And so thinking about that when you post pictures will really matter. Okay, Alana, how about you?
Everything that Rachel and Michelle mentioned, I would add that the length of the post mattered. So if it was way too long, I would pass it. But if it was like, I would say medium size, I would more likely to read it. And who posted mattered. Like if it was short or if it was longer, and if somebody actually like either admire or follow, I would actually take the time to read it. So there was this kind of, oh, advertising don't care. It was that quick decision analysis. Which one do I prioritize?
Yeah, and you have people in social media that will tell you that longer posts are better. They're better in one aspect, in the fact that keywords will get picked up in search. But the truth is that people get bored. Once they get past a paragraph or two, then you lose their attention and they start itching for some type of action. And just throwing this out here as a tip where social media is concerned, if you're going to put a social media post, you might have a paragraph, maybe two at the most, but at that point, go ahead and say, have a call to action. Would you like to learn more about this? Or see the rest of the article. Get them to click and do something. It could be, would you like to talk about this more? Let's book a call together. Or you can get more information about this topic at my website here. You just give them something to go, because they're not, and then afterwards, this is a little bit of a tricky trick, but after you have that call to action, then triple space, and you can add more content if you want to get those keywords picked up. So it's just a little trick that I have, and I use it. I do it all the time. Okay, so that's an important thing to do. And if you ever lose sight of what's important with social media, just go on and do that exercise and start asking yourself, all right, what's appealing to me? What's drawing my attention? Because that you've got other people out there and you've got to be thinking like they are. What are they looking for? What is it that's appealing to them in their lives? Okay, let's do an exercise here. This is going to be our part 1. Am I sharing my screen?
No.
Okay, hold on. On our worksheet, we're going to do this part right here, snapshot strategy. This is something that we should never really get tired of asking and clarifying about. What's our goal? Who really is the person that we're showing up for? And knowing where we're going, what our goal is, and who we're going after, that is so critical. I can't tell you how casting the wide net does not work. It does not work. So let's just take a moment. I want you to fill in the blanks here for these 3 questions. Number 1, what's your why for showing up online? And I know some of you are like, I don't really want to show up online, but why would you do it? Who are you showing up for? And where do you want to show up? And so when we say, where do you want to show up? I'm talking specifically about the platforms. Where might your people be? Okay, so let's take a few minutes to jot down some thoughts on these, and then we'll discuss.
Angie, could I ask a clarifying question? Your first question, what's your why for showing up online? Is that basically like our mission statement, what we're offering? Is that personally why we think we need to show up online?
I really think it's all of the above.
Okay.
I mean, we're asking this question here, and we know we're limited in time. This is something that really is worth even just sitting down and journaling and thinking through this. But just jot down what comes to mind for now. We'll give you just about 30 more seconds. All right, let's go ahead and start sharing. So what did you put for your why, who you're showing up for, and where you're going to show up at? Alana, how about you?
Sure. So my why is to provide tips for small businesses or maybe HR on some HR best practices. Maybe provide some assurance, educational research of sharing that education more, hopefully that leading them to ask more questions, and that's where I would come in. So the who is either the business owners or maybe HR professionals, and the where LinkedIn is, Facebook's is where I would start with. I'd like to get to Instagram, but I want to handle the first two first.
Yeah. Yeah. LinkedIn definitely is the number one where the HR professionals are going to show up, and they're on Facebook too. I don't care what anybody says. They're on there, and there's still about close to 80% of people are still on Facebook at some point or another. Okay. And so in terms of your why, so you want to give them tips and things like that. And so if you think about, that's something to reflect on even more deeply about when they get your tips, what will happen? Why will that be important? So it's starting to really dig into their mindset and why they're on there and what is it that you really want to help them to do.
Makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Michelle.
Writing. Sorry, I was still writing. So I took that why in both ways. So I said that why I would do this from a selfish perspective is to share my expertise, to gain visibility, and to book work.
Yeah.
Why I'm doing this, though, my mission is to help women drop the limiting language and behaviors and amplify their voice, power, and purpose unapologetically.
Yes, I love that.
You want to read in there? Who am I showing up for? I said I am showing up for women who have experienced life-altering moments that have shaken their confidence. I'm showing up for emerging female leaders, and I'm showing up for women who are searching for their purpose.
Yeah.
Where are those women? They're at conferences, they're in boardrooms, classrooms, sororities, moms groups, and they're on all the social medias.
Yes, that's true. You know why? Because they're busy on social media trying to figure out how to deal with their mindset. All right, awesome. Rachel, how about you?
So I did it from the perspective of my theater business and then also my life business. But I started with my why of mindset. And I was honest with myself and I said, one of the reasons I would start showing up on social media is to get over a fear of rejection.
It's good.
Being afraid of what people would comment. Because I am somebody who clicks, if it's a person that I know and I see that there are a bunch of comments, I click on the comments because I want to see whatever everybody else thinks about the story. Anyway, so for my theater business, I said I want to help people increase the power of their productions. And then for my life business, the Starfish app, I want to help people not leave money on the table, to learn financial principles, to grow personally, just because it's made such a big difference in my life.
Yeah.
So who I'm showing up for my theater business, I guess my main at the moment, and I'm in a resituating, but I just said church ministry directors is a great place to start. And for life, I was trying to narrow it down because you were just talking about you can't throw a wide net. But honestly, it's for anyone who wants to work on their finances, and save money on everyday purchases. Because I recognize that there are some people that they're okay just putting everything on a credit card. They don't know any better, but they're just okay with it. And honestly, where I would start is Facebook and LinkedIn, because I thought it was interesting what Michelle was saying about how LinkedIn is becoming more personal. I hadn't realized that, but I think that's where people would start. I don't feel like I fit the demographic for Instagram, TikTok, and age-wise anyway. And maybe I'm totally wrong.
Instagram is obviously very visual, and it does tend to target the younger generations. My daughter is on Instagram and TikTok, so if you have a product or a service that's talking to them, that's where you need to be. And so a lot of us, I think even in our community, there's not a lot of us that are reaching out to have to connect with the young kiddos coming out of high school. And some of our people in our community are trying to connect with college age students and things like that. But that's where all those folks are hanging out.
Rachel, as we were just talking about this, I just had this light bulb moment that went, duh, Michelle. I think, Rachel, there's a group that I want to invite you to be a part of, the HR group. And I know your first reaction might be like, I'm not an HR person, but Facebook has an HR group. And I just noticed this. I noticed this the other day. Someone said, I need somebody to come and teach some finance 101 to our employees. And I was like, oh, that's not, I don't know an HR person it didn't have to be an HR person, right? So it could be because you did that great presentation on the snowball effect. And so there are some groups that I think the other thing is too, that you might not think, okay, I don't know that I belong here, but you do, because what you bring to the table with your snowball work around how people can get out of debt, that's an important aspect of financial management. And companies are looking for folks like you to teach employees how to do that, because we don't learn that in school. So
Yeah.
that was just my like aha moment. So I'm going to invite you. So when you get that and you're like on Facebook, I'll send you the information. If you're like, why is Michelle inviting me to this? That's why, because they're looking for people to do financial education.
Okay, thanks.
You're
I
welcome.
love that you're bringing that up, because when we're thinking about our target audience, a lot of times we limit ourselves and think that, oh, it's going to be a man or a woman. They have to be in this age. But really, it has to do with the characteristics that person fits in. So for your situation, you could go online, even doing a campaign and posts on, hey, are you a working class person and you have found yourself struggling with the credit cards, and now you've gotten yourself into a situation, you're calling out the characteristics of the person and even some of the behaviors. You've found yourself just putting everything on the credit cards. That's going to appeal to that person who was doing that. And so we've got to not be afraid to be specific like that and call out the exact person. But I want to go back to what's showing up for your why, because this could even be a campaign where people are getting to know you. When I first started out on social media, this is exactly what I did. I created a campaign where I was telling people who I was and who I helped and what I did. And so I'm thinking about, Michelle, what you said. Everything that you said would be awesome to just chunk out, and you have a catchphrase or something at the top of your post, and it's just a picture of you, just an authentic picture of you in action. And it could even say, shut the just up.
I want to use that line. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be complicated and overly done. And that could even just kick off your social media campaign.
Okay, we'll get ready for that when we get this online.
Okay.
We're almost there, right?
Yeah. Okay. So, ladies, I want to just do a quick run through of the 10 steps of social media strategy. And I'm going to ask you to really start working through this. Even if you take one step a day and you just dedicate some time to it. Maybe even if it's just 15 minutes to really look at this step and say, what can I do here? I'm just going to do a quick drive-by of the 10 steps, and then we're going to try to hit the very first step before we get off of the call. First step with social media strategy is to clarify your purpose. And by the way, I want to clarify that strategy and actions are different. The strategy is really the map that you're going to follow to accomplish this. A lot of times we think strategies are go put 10 posts on, right? That is a result of the strategy that you've created. Clarifying your purpose and what is it that you want your content to do. This is really establishing, okay, I'm going to be posting on social media this month. What do I want to happen? What's the goal of me posting? Is it posting just to get my name out there? Am I posting because I want people to come into my funnel, or I want them to book a call with me? So thinking about what you want to happen there. Second thing, identify your ideal audience. This is the thing that we should never get tired of, and really think deeply about who is your person, what's going on in their life, how are they feeling about things, what would emotionally appeal to them. Just Michelle's examples just keep coming to mind today. But you know how they used a very personal situation to draw in. When my dad passed away, that's immediately going to draw a certain target audience. Choose 1 to 2 platforms to start. So when you're putting out social media, just pick one. Even just say, hey, right now I'm just going to post on LinkedIn, or I'm just going to post on Facebook. Pick 3 to 5 content pillars. I actually think 4 is the magic number for content pillars. And when we're talking about pillars, think about your business. What are the pillars of your business? What are the things that you actually do? And so you may want, these are some examples. Maybe one of your pillars for your content is testimonials about your coaching services, or maybe it's research tips on why you should never hire before you do ABC. So pick, and you don't even have to do 4. Even if you just pick a couple of different things, or even just one, just start with one. You got to start somewhere. The 5th step is to create a weekly content plan. Now here's where it gets real. This is where it starts to get hard and crunchy. You got to start doing stuff and create a schedule of when you're going to post, and not just say, hey, I'm going to post on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. What are you going to post? What's the image what's the graphic that you want to create? Or what picture do you want to put behind that? And then you map out what you're going to do. I like to use Canva. How many of you are familiar with Canva? Is everybody familiar? Okay, great. So I don't have to explain much there. Step 6 is batch and schedule content. So the awesome thing about Facebook and LinkedIn is you can schedule posts ahead. And so if you're doing it for the week, I always recommend that do it for the week. If you've booked out your content for 30, for Facebook, you can't go past 15 days, I think it is. Now, they have a limit on how far you can post out. It's either 15 or 30. I've been having Jasmine do all our posts, so I can't remember what that is because I let that go. All right, and then step 7, show your face and voice, Rachel Koppenhaver. You can take excerpts from when you were speaking. Maybe it's a picture. It's just a picture of yourself. Maybe you in action. Maybe it's you and your dog. These days, people really the authentic you behind the scenes kinds of pictures. Step 8, engage daily. So this is the hard part for us because we get so busy and we don't really understand the value of social media. But just even spending 15 minutes when people respond to your post, responding back, it helps the algorithm versus if you just leave it alone. If you leave it alone, then the algorithm doesn't pick up on that. Number 9, collaborate and cross promote. So it could be, let's say that 2 of you decide, hey, we're going to collaborate. I'm going to share, hey, meet my friend Rachel. Did you know that she offers blah, blah, blah? This is a great way, and you feel supported and you've got a partner in this. maybe for the next 30 days, you cross-pollinate your posts just to share. And then step 10, build a call to action habit. So the thing with posts is even when you're not directly selling, you don't want all of your posts to be about book a call with me, sign up here. That gets old with people. When you have the engaging post, you want to say, hey, what do you think about this? Take the poll. What would you choose? Engagement is really about building a relationship with them as opposed to holding the ring in front of their face and saying, can we get married now? How about now? Can we get married? Would you like to get married right now? So we want to avoid the, well, this is our first date, will you marry me syndrome. Okay, when you see these 10 steps, what do you think?
I feel overwhelmed.
Fair enough.
I like the checklist.
Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I have some things, I have a different version of a checklist on this same document that you can go. I actually liked both, and I was trying to drop it in ChatGPT and get it to combine the best of the best. It would not do it. So ChatGPT was being ornery. So I just gave you both lists. So I would recommend you go through here because there are actually some really good tips and points of direction there. The nice thing about these is you can take them one step at a time. That's why I say when you got this big old elephant called social media management, you eat that elephant one bite at a time, and that's one step at a time. Okay, so we're going to come back to our workbook here, and we just looked at those 10 steps. We've got just a few minutes here. I want you to just do a very quick assessment, and I want you to just put like a check or a yes or something on this step. Are you actively working this step or not actively working it? And if you have any comments about that, you can drop that in the comments. But let's just take a moment to look at all these steps and identify where you have some activity going and where you don't. So I'll give you a few minutes to do that real quick. Okay, ladies, so Rachel had to jump off. So if you look at this, what are the areas that you're doing something in, that you're actively working on these steps?
I'd say for me, I'm down at number 7. So I like posted when I was going to be speaking at the VIP. I'm waiting on Brandy to send me some pictures that she took, or because I wanted to post that I had been there speaking, but I really wanted a photo. So I want to post a photo, and I didn't take any because I was speaking. So I try to do that. Like anytime I'm like doing something or participating in something, I tend to do that. Show your face and voice. I think I'm still narrowing down with the new work, number 1, but I think we're really close to that. I feel a lot closer today after. And I definitely want to at some point just shut the just up, put that somewhere out there, because I think that'll be something people will be like, wait, what did she just say? And that's
did put it on your website on the about page, I think.
that. So yeah, I think that's where I'm failing is, oh yeah, that step 5 and step 4, I'm still, yeah, that's my struggle right now.
Okay. All right. So Alana, how about you?
I'm on 1 and 4. Those are, and I think I have created some of the weekly content and batch, so I have scheduled stuff. I think it's refining 1 and 4 and then coming back.
Yeah.
Scheduling content around it. But I do have some, like I just did it earlier today. I did several scheduled posts over the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So obviously we've got our work cut out for us on this. And one of the things that I'm going to have my admin do is I do have several different videos, how to and do it yourself social media kinds of videos from past clinics that we've done. So I've asked Cart to put those links into our May folder so that you have easy access. Those are also on the VIP library. We do have a section for social media management. So if you get hung up with, okay, how do I create content, or what kind of posting strategy can I actually use? You'll have access to those if you need those. But to me, it's pretty simple. Just start working through these steps. And I've created a worksheet that helps you to work through each step so that you can get those posts out, and you can do it in a very strategic way, as opposed to just throwing it at the wall and hoping it sticks. What questions do you have?
Good session. Good reminders.
Good.
I know I've been in this before, but I feel like it never hurts to hear it again and then be reminded, do this.
Yeah. It's important. It's a big part of what we do at the VIP Center. When I've recognized how valuable it is to do it, it just requires some work. And so if you're not going to do it, you need to get somebody to do it for you. It's that important. You have the ability, if you have any questions, you want to send me an email about something, I'll be happy to respond. But we can also follow back up in our feedback forum, which is going to be the 4th Wednesday of this month. We can follow up with any questions or anything that you need help working through at that point. Okay.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Alana.
You too.
All right, ladies. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.